Zipline drones are used to deliver life-saving medicines in the remote areas of Rwanda and Ghana. Zipline is looking to roll out its services across India. On the sidelines of recently concluded healthcare and IT conference and trade show in Hyderabad, I caught up with Sonam Velani, the global lead for partnership at Zipline. I asked her if and how Indian startups can partner with Zipline.
Tech support you would require, and coming to India, there are many small startups who are working in the drone technology. How can they associate with you? Do they have a scope of associating with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Oftentimes we work in partnership models, right? That's my job, is to figure out who is best positioned to work with us, whether it's on technology development, whether it's AI, whether it's mapping. A lot of that stuff we do in-house, and as we scale as a company, not just in India, but around the world, how do we leverage talent in our local markets? An example is that we've been operating in Rwanda and Ghana, as I mentioned. Our entire team is local. All of our flight operators go through training. All of our flight and fulfillment operators actually go through training in Rwanda for a full period of a month, where they learn everything about how drones operate. I myself went through that. And that's something that we hope to bring to India as well as we scale here.
So what would be the business model? Would user of the service pay for it, or the government paying for it? How does that work?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a mix. So, and it's not just government and users, right? It's also CSR funding, so large corporate social responsibility funds and large private sector corporations who have an interest in healthcare and want to see this type of technology succeed. So we have a number of different business models to a certain extent. We build a distribution center, and we charge, with governments, we often have a service contract. So we will do, say, 150, 200 deliveries per day to a set number of public hospitals and public healthcare centers across the service area. In addition to that, we work with private sector, as I mentioned. So private hospitals also suffer from stockouts and expirations, and these are cash flow issues for them, right? So how do we serve them and provide instant delivery? Distributors, it takes huge amounts of manpower and time to get a product from point A to point B. We can do that in 45 minutes and save cost. So as we sort of think about that, we're looking at both access fees as well as single delivery fees as we expand throughout.
When it comes to operations, would you be based out of the remote parts of India, or would you be based in a metro city and then from there service the remote parts?
Yeah, that's a good question. So oftentimes our distribution centers are about 45 minutes to 1 hour outside of a major metropolitan area. So think about it this way. You want to be close enough to have access to those products to then bring it out a little bit further. And then from there starts the 80-kilometer service radius. So it's 80 kilometers out and then 80 kilometers back, so 160 total. So we sort of think of ourselves as on the outskirts of large metropolitan areas. And of course, as the technology develops further and further, right, we intend to start serving some more suburban and urban markets as well, if the business model makes sense.
So one last question from the Indian startups. If they have to contact you, how would they do that? To provide their service?
Yeah, absolutely. If you go to www.flyzipline.com, there's a contact us page right there. And of course, feel free to find me on LinkedIn, add me. We are just about to launch in India, right? So for us, that means a huge market opportunity here, both in terms of the people we serve, but also the partnerships that we create in that process.
You would have a physical presence as well in India, and where would that be?
Yeah, absolutely. We are currently going through that process right now in terms of figuring out where it makes most sense for us.
Maybe Hyderabad?
maybe. Telangana is very much so a big source of talent, right? Incredibly smart people here, and obviously a lot of big tech startups and large tech companies, so a pool of talent for us to source from. And there's a lot of interest from the government and private sector also, right? So it's this good mix of an ecosystem that we want, but I cannot say for sure at the moment.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thanks for
no
your time.
problem.
Thanks
okay,
so much.
thank you.